Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
11 American habits I lost after moving to the UK.
Okay. And some of these are very, very small things, and some of them are big things. Number one, I almost never say the word garbage can anymore. I say a lot of American words still. I don't say rubbish, but I do say bin, and I don't typically say the word garbage, and I don't typically say the word garbage can.
We don't use garbage can either, though. We say trash can, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just take out the trash. Not, garbage is not. The only time is garbage, maybe like garbage truck.
Mm-hmm.
I would use garbage in that sense, like garbage truck, not trash truck, garbage truck. But can, it would be like trash can.
It's very profound.
Profound? You happy? No, I'm just saying. She said, I don't garbage. It doesn't even roll off of the tongue. Garbage can. I don't know.
And I don't know why this one in particular. I've switched to like.
But bin, yeah, we don't use bin though. Yeah.
British phrasing or the British words. It is something that is said a lot. Like
recycle bin. Yeah, for recyclables, yeah, recycle bin. Yeah, not recycle can.
Day-to-day life, like taking out the bins or put it in the bin or bin it or whatever, is something that you hear a lot, so I think it gets ingrained a bit more. And also the word garbage can just seems like an effort to say compared to bin, so I almost never say it. Should I start saying it again? Should I only refer to it as a garbage can or garbage? Comment below. Okay, number two, I cannot deal with the heat anymore. I grew up in Florida, you guys. Like, I grew up in a hot place. And when you live in a hot place for a long time, you get used to the heat and dealing with it. It's not like you necessarily have to love it, but your body can just take it. Now that I've lived in the UK for 10 years, I equally cannot deal with the heat to the same extent that a born and bred British.
I feel like that's fair, because I would feel like I wouldn't be able to deal with the cold the same way either. I would probably have to get used to, because even now, like, it gets into like 60s. Which is like, I don't know, like 23 Celsius or whatever. I already put a sweater on, like.
You wouldn't do that in Lithuania?
Oh no. In Lithuania, it would be like 18 degrees outside. It's just, let me see 18, so you know what we're talking about here. With 18 degrees outside, even a t-shirt is like, the spring is full, full spring.
Is it different because it's like, we have a different climate? So it feels different?
I think your body just becomes conditioned to it, too. Oh, 18 is 64. Well, anyway, yeah, 64. No, so I'm saying 64, you would be like, what's so funny for you today?
Go ahead.
No, yeah. What's so funny?
That's nothing.
No, what is so funny? I want to know that.
Then you probably would say like, oh, like in 40-degree weather.
I'm not fucking stupid in 40-degree weather. But anyway, yeah, 64, 18 Celsius is, I don't know, that's like when you short, like sometimes even shirt and shorts. Like here, like that you like put a sweater on. Like your body just becomes differently conditional. I feel like, so I fully understand her point that she's not used to the heat. I do think it takes some getting used to it. It's not, so it makes sense.
Person cannot deal with the heat. The temperature gets like remotely hot here and I am done. I'm like, it's too hot, I'm sweating. It is a different kind of heat in Florida versus in the UK. And also the fact that UK buildings are not made for the heat makes a difference as well. So I would argue that sometimes it can feel hotter here than it would in somewhere like Florida, even without air conditioning. Like Florida homes are mostly tile and the homes are meant to like bleed the heat out, not keep it in. But I can't deal with the heat anymore. So I've become British in that sense. I have slept with an ice pack in my bed a night or two, not gonna lie. Number three, I don't smile or say hello to strangers as much. This is a very American habit. We are, maybe not in like the most major cities like New York, but in most of the countries, you pass somebody on the street and, walking the dog or like walking around the neighborhood, or I don't know the exact context, but I just feel like Americans are always smiling at people and saying hello to strangers. Now, this is specifically talking about the southeast of England, because it's different in other parts of the country, but I live in the southeast of England, so I don't do this as much anymore because it doesn't really seem to be the culture here, and then I just look like the weird one who is smiling and saying hello to random people. So now I don't know what to do Like, now it's awkward because sometimes I'm like, did they expect me to smile and say hello to them and now they think I'm being rude? Or, like, are we both just feeling awkward, or am I doing the right thing? So I would say my American habit of just, like, acknowledging...
That's so interesting that she feels the need to, like, I don't know. I don't say hi to people either because, you know, where I come from, you don't do that. But I don't feel awkward about it whatsoever. I don't know. I don't say hi, and that, like, why do I, you know... I don't be staring at people though. Like, you know, I'm walking by and I'm staring at you. Like, I, you know, like you... But, I don't know. It's just interesting how, like, it sounds like it's very awkward for her. She's kind of confused what to do.
Other people's existence has kind of fallen by the wayside in the UK. Number 4, I no longer expect free refills. I know that it's not a thing. It doesn't happen in the UK unless you're somewhere like Nando's. But at a traditional restaurant, you don't have free refills in the same way that you do in the US, except for something like tap water. And
so when you're sitting and you have your drink and it's finished, it's finished?
You can ask for a refill, but
do they ask you?
I don't think so. It's hard to say.
Or you have to ask for a refill.
I think you have to ask.
And if it's a refill, is it price of the same drink again?
Or
yeah. Is
same price again, yeah.
Reduced pricing.
No, it's not reduced. It's the same. Obviously, it will depend on different country. Probably different. You know, I can't speak for the UK as much, but in Lithuania, I think you have to ask for the most part. Yeah, for another drink. They're not gonna come in. Sometimes there have been times where like ask if you would like another one, but it's not like here. Like they come in, they see your cup is low. Do you want a refill? Like it's not. They're not like that for sure.
Oh, it's not something that I ever expect. And so when I go to the US, I am then reverse surprised, like reverse culture shocked, into remembering that refills are free. In the US,
I wonder if she finished her drink in the first place to get a refill, because I've noticed like when people come from Europe to here, they don't even really get to the drink all the way to the bottom.
That is true. When you don't get free refills, you drink it a little more modestly.
Yeah.
Then with the free refills, you just drink it like there's no end to it because it's free, so it's like whatever.
You want a free
refill. Yeah, you want a refill, yeah.
Paid for that.
Yeah, you paid it, so you're going to drink, you know, instead of drinking 1 cup at a sitting for a meal, you're going to drink like 3 cups. You know, if you really want to get your money's worth, you're going to do like 4 or 5, but that's it. I know you're going to be pissing all day, but... yeah, so that is also, I do agree there's some sort of conditioning to that too, that, you know, you paid for one, you know, usually, 1 drink, generally speaking, 1 drink is enough for the meal, you don't need 2. Since they are free though...
It's more than enough because the cups are big.
Yeah, since they're free, might as well, you know, get another one for free, you know.
Like, refills of something.
And also, I think you said the cups are big. I think it might not be a cup, it might be a bottle. So it comes in a bottle. So, cup size doesn't matter, you know, it's just the bottle. When you finish, get another. Because I think restaurants, they probably don't have the fountains that like the fast food might have it, but like the nicer restaurants, probably soda is not the go-to drink at a nicer restaurant. So I would think they don't have the fountains. They probably just have like the bottles, you know.
But in the UK, I don't even want it because I know that it's like it will cost more money and I don't expect it. Number 5. I don't really care about having ice in my water. This is a very American thing that you see all the...
That is American, yeah. I wasn't used to it either, but it does taste a little better though, cold.
Like,
I feel like... I prefer it a little chilled. Like, I don't like sometimes they over put ice to a point where it like waters down the drink, but a little bit of ice cubes, I feel like it does enhance the drink a little bit.
Well, like they don't put ice in their water as much in the UK, or I had to ask for it, or whatever. Like, Americans love ice in their water. I must have been like this before, but again, it is not as common here, but now I don't even want it. I'm like, no, I want more of whatever, like, the drink is. I don't necessarily need ice, and I feel like people offer me ice, like, in home sometimes, specifically because I'm American. Like, they think that I will expect that, and I actually don't. I actually don't necessarily need ice in my drinks. And
do you know why people love ice? Like, here in Florida, I get it's hot, but, like, the same thing was up north. Why? Do you know why? That's interesting. North? Yeah, because in Florida, I get it. It's hot.
I mean, in the fountains, when it comes out the fountain, it is already cold. But I can also think it's a marketing strategy just for purpose of giving less drink.
I get it. That has to be marketing strategy. Because if it's not for the heat, then I don't really know why.
and that feels like a very British or European thing to me. Number 6, I do not tip like an American. I don't feel obligated to. I don't want to. I know a lot of American visitors who come here are like, I can't not tip. American tipping culture is so different. Here in the UK, you don't have to tip. Sometimes the service charge is added and then like I'll pay it. But like you don't have to tip in a lot of things that you do in America. And so I have not kept my American tipping culture. I would gladly save myself the money. Half the time, by the way, you go to a restaurant, particularly like a chain restaurant, and they will press no on the card reader where it says, do you want to tip, before handing it to you. So yeah, I don't tip like an American anymore. I've definitely lost that habit. Moving to the UK and when I go back to America, again, big culture shock when you realize that now you do need to tip for things that you don't.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger culture shock coming from Europe, having to tip so much versus like going there, not having to tip. That's like, oh. That's...
But you know, I feel like when I did work like at the movie theaters, there was people who came from like Europe and they wanted to tip me, like, but I couldn't accept it because we're not allowed to accept tips. But I don't think like Europeans do not like to tip.
Right. It's not that they don't tip. They do tip.
Yeah, they don't mind.
Amount is different.
Yeah.
Here it's like 18% is kind of like the standard, I guess. In Europe, I would say it's more closer to 10%. Like maybe even 5%. It's more like, you know, like a euro or two, or in UK a pound or two would be. Versus here it's like more like a set amount percentage of the meal cost.
What would happen is typically they would pay for their meal and you say, oh, you can keep the change. But it's not like the amount like 15, 20.
Yeah.
In the US?
Yeah, that I think that's a good actually. Yeah, like so I feel like in Europe it's like if it comes out to like 98 euros, you just give 100 bill and you leave the 2 euros as a tip. I think it's more so like that versus, you know, like, oh, 98, let me count 18%. Oh, how much is that? $17, 17 euros. No, it's not like that.
In the UK, or you need to tip a much larger amount than you would in the UK. But as I said, I saved myself the money and have lost my American tipping culture. Number 7, an American habit that I've gotten out of is worrying about going to the doctor because of monetary reasons, or more specifically, not even just the doctor, but like going to the hospital. And this is a more common one. This isn't a lot of videos, but it's very true. When I used to live in America, it would be like, are you dying? Like, do you actually need to go? Do you actually think that you've got like 6 months to live? Because if not, it's not going to be worth the expense of going to the doctor or the hospital. The hospital you get huge bills for. Here in the UK, I just am like, oh, I have this symptom that I think is kind of weird. Probably don't think I'm going to die in the next 6 months. I'll just make an appointment. No thoughts about money. And I really, really enjoy that kind of American way of thinking about money and health has disappeared. Next, I don't keep my eggs in the refrigerator. So you don't have to keep British eggs in the refrigerator, but you do have to keep American eggs in the refrigerator. This is due to a lot of differences that I'm not even going to go over in this video. I'll do it in another video. But
they said the eggs here are bleached, that's why you have to keep them, versus there it's not. I don't remember how we kept when I was growing up with it. I want to say it was in the fridge though. Not that you had to, I don't know. I guess it was just a convenient place to put it, kinda, you know, it was like there, you know. But I wanna say it was in the fridge.
Because where do you keep them then?
Yeah, it's kind of like you don't want to keep it on the counter because you don't want to trip them, move them, they fall, break. So it's in the store they're definitely not in the fridge though. That is true. But I feel like we kept them in the fridge. I don't know.
I have gotten out of the habit of feeling like my eggs need to be in the fridge because when I first moved here from America, I definitely felt like eggs needed to go in the fridge because that's just where I always stored them. Now, I store my eggs on the counter, actually, and I don't put them in the fridge. Which, because a lot of times when you're baking, it asks for like room temperature. You shouldn't necessarily have cold eggs when you're baking. I don't know. But you don't have to refrigerate.
That's interesting. I've never seen a recipe where it says room temperature eggs.
Only room temperature butter.
Yeah, but butter, melted butter, like water important, cold water versus room temperature, warm water, yeah. Eggs, I've never seen a recipe where specifically says a room temperature eggs. That's interesting.
British eggs, completely safe not to. So, the American habit of rushing those eggs straight into the fridge, gone. Okay, next up, I eat a lot more things past their sell-by date or use-by date in the
Oh,
UK.
fuck. Not in this house. Everything I eat past the date, I don't give a fuck.
I'll explain why I think this is like a British versus American thing. I feel like Americans are more wary overall of like eating something by the date, and if it's past the date, then they're like, oh, it's gone, it's bad. I feel like in the UK, people are a little bit more like, oh, we'll just like smell it and then hope that it's fine. I mean, obviously there are some things that you're not going to take a risk with, but I feel like I've stopped looking at the dates as much on food products and kind of just like judge for myself whether I think it's still good. And I think this kind of plays into like the British culture of not being wasteful as well, where an American, like I might have in the past, looked at something that said it went off on like the Monday, but if it was the Tuesday, I'm like, well, I can't eat that, but it was being wasteful because it was perfectly fine. So now I'm a little bit more loosey-goosey with food sell-by dates or use-by dates.
I guess it's wasteful part. I'm thinking you just, you want to save money. You don't want to, if it's still edible, why you want to go buy the same thing when you already have it? So yeah, I get it.
Okay, the next American habit that I have lost is not ordering dessert when I go out to eat for dinner. Follow me on this because I know it's going to sound confusing. So I would say, based on my experience, based on my generalizations, it's a more British habit when going out to eat to order multiple courses, specifically dessert. I feel like if we're going out for dessert in the UK, not all the time, not everybody, but it's more common to consider it an experience, which means that a lot of people would order dessert afterwards. In America, we go out to eat a lot more. It's less of an experience for us, and also we kind of like, let's get through this. We don't sit around after we finish for a long time. And I don't feel like it's as common for Americans to order dessert after their entree or their main meal if they're going out to dinner. I can't really explain why I feel this. I haven't seen like a study on it. I'm just telling you, Americans love dessert. I'm not arguing that we don't eat dessert. But it might be that like you would finish with your main meal at one restaurant and then you'd like go out for ice cream on the way home. It wouldn't necessarily like be a part of that particular sit-down experience. Leave a comment below if you have American friends and family, if you are American, if you are British. What are your experiences on people ordering desserts with their meals or after their meals when they're going out to eat? Do you? Is it common? Do you go somewhere else? Do you have dessert at home? Okay,
What do you think?
The thing is, I'm particular, so I know what exactly I would want. So if the restaurant has X, Y, and Z, I may not want dessert there.
That's a good point. Yeah, sometimes that's not what you want, but they have. For me, I'm kind of thinking. For me, obviously, I'm not from UK, so can't exactly compare to British culture. But I agree with that. At least in Lithuania, too, going out is much more of like a event than it is here. It's not like event, but it's rarer than here. Here, like, yeah, it's very common. Like some people literally eat out every day. Like they go for lunch every day. So I would say it's more like maybe like once a week type of thing. So I get her point that it's more like you kind of want to savor the moment, enjoy it. However, on the other hand, I would say it's less common to get desserts than here. I would say people get desserts more here than there too, because there's so many like kinds. You said bakeries that you get good. Like a lot of people cook at home.
I would think because in some restaurants they have like a specialty to what they do, so they're known for the best of this. And typically, if you go to a restaurant, the common thing that they have is like maybe a cake or an ice cream. But if you want, when you want to eat something really the best of it, so you go to a better place that's known for their cakes, a better place that's known for their ice cream.
Yeah, interesting.
Like Cheesecake Factory, people go there like for cheesecake.
Yeah, if you go to Cheesecake and you don't get cheesecake,
yeah,
right, you gotta get cheese, right? Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, this is an interesting point. I never thought about it. I guess, yeah.
I feel like in Europe, people eat out a lot just as much too. I don't think that's
No, it seems like that throughout reactions, because we see like, but I feel like people even in our comments, they say that that's not really, people don't go out to eat. Like in Italy, we see like, we see a lot of Italian reactions about food. They said like this, they don't go out to eat because it's not really that cheap. Like compared to how much people make, that's why we're sitting here. The food, I'm like, damn, it's pretty expensive. It's pretty expensive. It's pretty expensive. And people don't go out because it's not that cheap. It's just. So our reactions make it seem like, because we probably watch tourists trying the best food in Sicily, so it's a tourist doing the best food, so it makes it seem like that. But no, here I would definitely argue that here is more common to go out to eat.
11, I've gotten out of the American habit of using basically instant everything. I make a lot more from scratch here in the UK. That's just the culture in general that I've kind of adapted to. There's less like instant options, but in America definitely things are all about like the instant mashed potatoes. Whereas here I would make mashed potatoes with actual potatoes. So probably my health is much better for losing this habit. I do miss a little bit of the convenience.
I wonder how much of it is not having option to versus, wanting to. Because if she said there's less options, so if you don't have an option, well, what else are you going to do?
Yeah, but the option of making instant potatoes is not appealing.
I know we don't make instant stuff, so I can't exactly say anything about this. But I just wonder how much has to do that there isn't as many options,
This culture of like instant foods, and not necessarily the time involved making everything from scratch, but like I said, overall we're probably net positive, and the food tastes better and is actually typically cheaper making things from scratch. Like a good example is soups. So I feel like I would make a soup from scratch here because it's actually not that hard, even though I'm not a good cook. In America, I would never have made a soup from scratch. I would have just bought a can of soup. I'm not saying people don't buy cans of soup here. Obviously, they do. But I just feel like the American culture is like, if you're making your own soup, you're basically Gordon Ramsay. Whereas here, you're not. You're just like a normal person making dinner. So that is the last of my American habits that I have lost, or American ideals that I've lost moving to the UK. Like I said, this is all mostly net positive. So I am making another video.
Alright.
Okay. Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord, and as always, share as much kindness as possible.